Football Book, Cleveland's finest by Vince McKee, is this year's must-have book for every Cleveland sports fan. Available now at Amazon.com. Get your copy today.
You're listening to The Sports Fix.
Indian fever, it's catching fire with everyone. Indian fever, you can be part of the fun. You're the winner at every game, that's when the excitement begins. So catch Indian fever, be a believer with the Cleveland Indians.
I had to let it play out. Are you a believer? You know, once or twice a week, I got to get this in. I got to get it in. I would get it in at least once a week, even if the fever wasn't burning. But are you feeling it? Because all cliches, all the coach speak, player speak, media speak aside, this is it. It's right here. And I saw it put in an interesting way. It may have been in the Plain Dealer, but I saw it phrased as, hey, man, you can say what you want about the length of the baseball season, but they've given you a shotgun season right here because you got a month. You got a month of every day, every game matters. You know, we talk about the difference, and it's legit with baseball, with the other sports, but primarily football. Not just attendance-wise with every game being a quote-unquote event, but being more meaningful in the standings just because there's a limited number of them. You don't have 150 more. You don't get the quarter pole. At the quarter pole in football, you're 4 games into this thing, you know? And so my point is you have that leverage here. Say what you want about everything that's happened in April, May, June, July, and August, but baby, this stretch here heading through September, this is it. And it's everything you could ask for in any sporting season is coming down to it. Every single game for the rest of the season, but for the next month, it all is meaningful. It all is very leveraged. It's all very important. Every one of them will swing standings up and down one direction, and when you come out the back end of it, it's over. You either came through it or you didn't. So it's definitely a little different than the usual day to day. There's always another game of the baseball season. And let's talk about all of that. Some of the numbers here coming into it, what the Indians have in front of them. We were talking yesterday already, setting the stage about some of those pitching matchups that are coming up over the next couple of series here. Some really good ones if you're a baseball guy in general. So let's start doing all that. Of course, Indians were off last night. They start this stretch here. They start it with Chicago. We've got 6 big ones coming up on the road. Let's talk about it with my man. He's with us every Tuesday talking Tribe right around this time. Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. My man, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, J-Rock. I'm still pumped up from Guns N' Roses. That was my freshman year in college. That's like all I listened to.
I can't imagine. I don't have the visual on that, but I'm going to take your word for it, my man. I guess I could see you kind of being the long-haired hippie version of Jeff Gorman, I guess, doing your thing. But I'm with it. No, I'm with it. And that's one of my favorites, too. That's why I always sneak it in there. Although I can't lie, I thought I had the edited version in there. I hit the break and said, "Oh man, what was that, Uncle Axel? Why you doing it to me?" A friend of mine, we joke. He always says, "Old Uncle Axel," because if you've seen the pictures of what he looks like now, I'm telling you. I don't even want to say on the air some of the jokes that we make about it because I may get sued because Axl Rose is all sensitive about that. But I'm just going to say, brother hasn't passed up too many McDonald's that he hasn't stopped at over the last 20 years. Have you seen? have you seen? And some of the memes that they make with his face at these concerts is great. Have you seen Axl Rose in 2014?
Not really. I've seen a couple pictures. It looks like he may have had a little bit of work done.
I'm just saying, there's missing members of Guns N' Roses, and there are rumors, at least I am very curious to find out if Axl Rose may have eaten the missing members of Guns N' Roses. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all. They can play some good music, but no, actually, dude's a musical genius. People don't know it because it's covered up by the type of music that he does and the drugs that they used and all of that, but Axl Rose is actually a musical genius, you know, but people don't know that. Like, because how would you know that? Look at him. But if you read his life story and you know about him, he's actually he's one of those upper level musician type people. But anyways, hey, while we're talking about stuff real quick, I didn't mention it in the opening. While we're talking about stuff that's not sports, since you went there, I'm not a big award show guy. I always tell you guys, I didn't even have to watch the Emmys last night to know that Breaking Bad was sweeping through. And it is good to know that there is still appreciation for the good programming. I'm telling you, that is, if you never went and checked it out and then you saw it winning a bunch of awards last night, go be that guy who, after the award ceremony, says, I can't believe I never watched it. Trust me, that'll be what you say. I don't know about you, Jeff, but Breaking Bad to me is one of the better television productions ever put on, as far as the depth of the writing and the characters and all of that. I'm telling you, it's right up there with The Sopranos, with The Wire, with some of the top series of all time. Are you a Breaking Bad guy?
No, I probably should be one, though. We just got all caught up with Mad Men, but that probably should be on my list pretty soon.
It's one of those ones, I promise you. It's one of those, unless you just really don't get into the material. It's one of those shows that if you start on Netflix from number one, you will waste entire days of your life, because you will go, man, I've just watched 7 straight episodes of this, and at least you're at the part where there's no more live episodes, because I learned about Breaking Bad after, I think I was 2 seasons in, so I found it on Netflix, and I just binged on the first 3 seasons, I believe. I just binged on it. You know, you could watch it, no commercials, no waiting for next week, so I just plowed through the first couple of seasons, and then I got up to reality, and you had to wait. And wait,
yeah,
and then you'd only get, oh man, that was the worst. I mean, I don't get caught up in shows very much. I don't, but that was one of the ones where I was like all these other people, when you hear them say, oh, tonight is such and such, I'd be like, man, Sunday, it's Breaking Bad, let's go, you know? And watch football all day, get home from doing the remotes or whatever, and bam, it's Breaking Bad time. But anyways, they swept it, and they should have, because that's, if you haven't watched it, be that person that says, oh man, I can't believe it took me 5 years to watch it, because you will definitely, you'll love it. Trust me, you'll love it.
Well, better late than never.
Absolutely, brother. And I am that guy, by the way. I am that. All of my favorites, almost all of my favorite things I've ever watched in my life, I didn't watch them while everybody else was watching them. I didn't watch Seinfeld. I think it was because I was younger, and the sense of humor just it didn't work with me when Seinfeld was live. That just was not my type of humor. It's one of my favorite shows ever. I've seen every single episode now as an adult. It's hit me, and it's funny, and I love Seinfeld. But, man, when it was live, you couldn't have got me to watch it. I don't know why. I just wasn't into it. I'm always that guy that catches the shows later and goes, man, how come I wasn't watching this when everybody else was? You know why? It's because I'm anti-authority. I don't like to go with the crowd. I don't like to do what everybody else does. And then I find out, oh, okay, maybe that makes sense.
I've been like that with Seinfeld too. I think I jumped in like exactly halfway through, and now it's my favorite show too. I've watched every episode just like you.
You know what I'm saying, though. Anyways,
yeah,
so, we got to throw a little current affairs in with the sports talk every once in a while. Let you guys know that we've got outside interests, but let's talk Tribe. You heard me set the stage before we brought it back on the air. The 30 games in 30 days, and looking at the splits, I mean, it's like everything else. It's 50-50. It's half and half. It's basically the road and home. I think it's 16 and 14. Losing teams at 16, home or winning teams it's 14. They've got 14 at home, 16 on the road. So it's all split very much right down the middle, and here they go. A chance to control your own destiny, which is all you can ask for, especially as we keep saying our favorite line, everything that's happened, you're amazed just to be here. But plain and simple, you can say they're a 500 team. You can say this team has not been good enough all season. But for the next 30 days, if they can get the job done, then they're going to end up where they wanted to. And if the pitching stays the way it has for the last 2 weeks, they can do just that. If Kluber and Bauer and Carrasco and Salazar and House can have another run through. I mean, since August 9th, they're 9-4 with a 1.7 flat ERA. Bullpen has been taking care of business. They have all season, but they hit a stretch where they got tired. They've got a second wind now because they've got their strength back. In the second half, the pitching has come up for them. Now it's the offense that has got to do its job. And if it can, and if the pitching holds up, I'm telling you, the Indians can run this thing down. But we mentioned it yesterday. They have to win 2 of every 3 games that's left. Plain and simple to catch up to. And that's only going to get you 88 wins. But that'll put you in that grouping.
Well, that's what they've been doing so far. Remember, they were 60-60, and they took 2 out of 3 from the Orioles, and then 2 out of 3 from the Twins, and then 2 out of 3 from the Astros. It didn't always look good doing it. They didn't always do it with some big offensive outburst, which we are still kind of waiting for, but they've been able to do it, and that's the best thing. We're here at the end of August, and they still have a chance. It's not, completely out of the realm of possibility, and it's great that we have, 2 years in a row where this team is in playoff contention, and it could possibly happen. But you said it right, this is a situation where it comes down to, with the defense. Well, the defense has been bad, and it has, but, the offense has got to come through down here. I mean, even if the starting pitching doesn't remain this great, I mean, they have just been lights out. Even if the starting pitching gives you like a 3.00 ERA through the rest of this stretch, that would be fine. That'll be understandable. But the hitting has got to come through. And it's difficult because you're really dealing with an undermanned group. You have a lot of guys who have been injured and or underperformed, and, they're not even there. We don't have Nick Swisher. We don't have Ryan Rayburn. We don't have David Murphy. We don't have Jason Giambi. These are all people who we signed, we paid money for. They're supposed to be in there slugging, getting doubles, getting homers, getting big hits. All those guys are not even in a position to play at all. So that's why you have a situation where you're relying on guys like Tyler Holt and Chris Dickerson and Jose Ramirez, who's done very well. He's the guy who's really stepped up, I think, is Jose Ramirez. I think you got to give him a lot of credit for holding up his end offensively, especially in that number 2 spot to allow everybody else to bat below him. So if so it's going to really be an all-hands-on-deck situation from an offensive standpoint to just get enough offense to scratch through each game, especially if you keep getting such good pitching like that.
And I'll tell you, well, the bonus here for the Indians, the added benefit for all teams, but with the way the schedule's falling, is the fact that a couple of days from now, you do have some reinforcements with the ability to expand the roster. And Terry Francona was even saying that over the last few days, is that we will be able to bring, and they are. Obviously, you got a lot of guys. I expect Aguilar. I mean, the question is Lindor. Do they bring him up, or do they say, you know what, we're good with letting him stay right where he's at. We don't want to start his even dipping his toe into the major league level until next spring when we get to spring training. Let me start there. What do you think when we hit here September 1st this weekend, when they get the chance to expand the rosters? Do you think it's a cut and dry that Lindor comes up? Because I've got questions. I think that perhaps they may sit tight and let him finish the season where he's at. What do you think?
I think they need to get him up here as soon as possible.
Well, I know. I'm saying what I think they'll do.
Considering how depleted this team is offensively, and the sooner we're thinking about next year, if you want him to be, your number 1 shortstop at the beginning of next year, I think it's best to get him up here, get him used to the major leagues, get him used to the pitching, so he's not starting from scratch in April of next year. Get him some his feet wet already, and it's not like a situation where he's not going to play. They'll find some room for him. They'll find some time for him to play. I think so. So.
See, I got to question that. Let me jump in there. Where's he going to play? Because are you going to have him play every day? Because if that's the case, you don't wait till September. You would have brought him up sooner if you thought that he could impact this chase and this playoff run here. So, I mean, my thing is if I can have him playing every day at AAA, or once a week at best, if I bring him up to the majors and he gets a pinch hitting appearance here and there, I'm keeping him at AAA. That's my point, is for his development, I don't know that coming up here and being a plug-and-play utility, getting a once-a-week opportunity, I don't know if that's the best for his development is what I'm saying. You've got these other guys that can play. You got a multitude of utility guys here now. My thing is that's it. I don't know that it's worth bringing him up if he's not going to play every day. If you were out of contention, then you could throw him out there every day and say, all right, it's time to get him in there. But I think if you felt that he gave you a better bat and a better shot during the playoff stretch, you wouldn't wait until September is what I'm saying. You could have called him up at any point here.